All right, so recording has stopped. Hopefully, not everybody lost a shit ton of money on Friday. We saw a pretty massive move on Friday thanks to Trump opening his big mouth. Today, I'm gonna go ahead and cover if anybody is following my X page, or if anybody's following my actual analysis, you would know from the past 2 weeks, like starting on September 26th. I've been mentioning to people that they should be taking hedges for long term, either through VIX calls or they could do like SPX puts or whatever they want to do. But I've been calling a move to the downside since September 26th. I'm gonna go ahead and go over the reason why I was able to identify that, or like how I was able to identify that. Because on Friday, I've heard from a lot of people that they were caught off sides, meaning that they were swinging like very, very heavy long positions. I heard a lot of people asking me how they could have prepared or they could have hedged properly based upon the analysis and insights that I've shared. So I'll go ahead and go over like a sequence of events that has been happening since like mid to late September that should have had you on the defense. Ultimately, it starts with Bitcoin. Bitcoin hit an all-time highs, but then it took out, let me actually go ahead and share what I'm saying real quick, okay? I leave all of my posts up on X, so if you want to scroll through it and if you want to go ahead and pull them up, you're more than welcome to do that as well. Let me restart my trading view because it's pretty slow right now. All right, so everything on today's session is going to be pretty much a recap of what went down last week. Like ultimately, when the market is going in a singular trend, like AKA it's going up and to the right, like it's very easy to make money. Heatseeker only makes it easier to make money. I think the biggest problem is that people get used to a particular trend, and then one trend reversal candle pretty much wipes out like days or weeks or months worth of gains. Like that should never be happening. Like if that's happening to you and on Friday like you lost a pretty significant amount that's making you lose sleep over the weekend, first thing first, like you need to figure out your sizing and you need to figure out your risk management because there's no shot, even if you were all in longs and the market pulled back like 2 or 3% on Friday, like you should still not be like you shouldn't have lost all of your profits from like the last few weeks and months, okay? So let me go ahead and open up my charts and let me go ahead and show you a lot of what I was seeing leading into this week. Alrighty. So if you look at the Bitcoin chart here, for a lot of people that know how I trade, I mean, a lot of people that know how I trade, like you know me, like I only do double tops, double bottoms, and I do liquidity sweeps and stuff like that. All right, who the fuck is trader drawn on my screen? This guy's, yeah, don't draw on my screen. All right. Anyways, the way you can pretty much effectively know that Bitcoin was at significant risk of a correction is that this was the prior all-time high at 124,573, right? And already on October 6th, which was like the beginning of last week, we actually took out liquidity here. And like the rejection was already beginning, right? So this is generally a bearish signal. Like if you look here, this is a perfect double top right here. It even did the liquidity sweep. Like this is very, very textbook, like bearish signal on Bitcoin. And right when that happened, like I told people to be careful. Like you want to be careful because if they're taking out liquidity to the upside, what they're effectively doing here is they're tricking people into thinking that the price is going to break out so that like bulls are chasing longs here. And they're also making it so that shorts are going to go ahead and stop out because they think that we're going to break out to fresh new highs. Usually, what happens after that is you end up getting into a very, very sharp reversal. So even after this initial reversal here on October 6th at 11 a.m. Pacific, I should do Eastern, um, like we dumped a little bit, and this is your second point of confluence that like the bullish momentum is starting to subside. You even got a perfect golden zone rejection here at the 50% to 61.8. So at this point, like there's no reason to be bullish on Bitcoin anymore, right? So anybody who trades crypto, anybody who's in crypto, like even after these sequence of moves happened, like if you were still bullish, then you need to probably step back a little bit and just go over the basics of technical analysis because this is a very, very textbook bearish pattern. It did a false breakout. It did a sweep of the liquidity. Even after it did the sweep of the liquidity, it dumped. It tried to pull back up, and then it did a golden zone rejection here and kept on going down. And then the rest was history. Like it never broke back above. Like what you have here is like a higher high, but then you got a lower high right here. You've got a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Like it's in a bearish structure, right? Like there's nothing bullish about it. Not only that, but another signal you could have used if you're using Heatseeker today is based off of coin. Coin is one of the derivatives of Bitcoin. Like everybody should know that. And let me show you what coin was showing, okay? One second. Okay, where's this one? All right, so this is the coin heat map. This is from Friday. This is from Friday in the morning, okay? If you look at this, what you have here is you've got the king node at 400. You've got like a couple more here at 395. You've got a 390, 387, all the way down to 365, right? So the way you play this is I mean, if anybody's like reading the docs or if anybody's watching the videos, like you would know that coin is going to top out at 400, like no matter what. Like there's literally no king node above that, and if anything, like nodes are stacking to the downside, right? So the way you can play this is off of rejection of 400. If you drew a line here at 400 on Friday, right? Let's go ahead and zoom in to see what happened in the intraday. Like, look at this. Like in the morning on Friday, right after the market opened, it did this little fake pump right here. It tapped 400, and then look how hard it dropped after the hitting that king node, right? Like I mean, sure, like even if you entered a little bit early here at like 400, like you're fine, like you barely had any drawdown. But ultimately, like from the top to the bottom, coin had a 12% drawdown on Friday, which is just a massive, incredible short that you could have taken, okay? So this kind of covers like the whole Bitcoin thesis, and like generally speaking, like Bitcoin is an indicator of whether like, traders are going to be risk on or risk off. That's generally like a pretty good indication. So like regardless of anything, like nobody should like in my honest opinion, like nobody should have been heavy long crypto, especially on high leverage, like online on socials. Like I'm seeing that, there's so many people that are blowing up on crypto longs on high leverage and like for me it just doesn't make sense. Like if you know the basics of TA, if you understand how to use Heatseeker and you've been watching the videos, you've been looking at the docs, like nobody should have lost money on crypto longs. If anything, you should have been able to catch the ride down because it was extremely and incredibly clear, like no doubt about it. Like shit was just literally like right in your face, okay? So, long story short, like don't ignore and don't doubt the heat seeker. Like, I train and I teach everybody to play like king node reversals, and this entire map like shows you like it shows you 400 is going to be a rejection. Like there's nothing above this that's important. If anything, the nodes are all to the downside, which means the risk to reward shorting off of 400 is absolutely incredible, okay? So that goes over like the Bitcoin and the coin thesis. Like a lot of people are saying like, oh yeah, hindsight is 2020. Again, like go through my X timeline, go through my profile. Like I've literally been calling this for like the entire past week. So if anybody got liquidated in crypto, then you probably just need to go and follow a bunch of people and focus more on my feed, okay? Or just learn to use Heatseeker. Like I tell everybody to use it. Like it gives you the signals in advance. Like, it's a predictive indicator. It's got predictive intelligence. And like just based off of this, like 400 is going to reject, right? So, okay. All right. Yeah, anyways, that's the crypto thesis and like the crypto analysis. Hopefully that helps. Let me go ahead and see what's next. All right, so SPX is the next one here. I don't, when I restarted TradingView, it looks like I lost all of my images. So one second. I just have to pull them up again. All right, so this one is pretty incredible. Like SPX, was incredible. Like this was SPX VEX map on Thursday, okay? On Thursday, we pulled the SPX VEX map. This was literally the night before the market opened on Friday. This is Thursday evening at 11:17 p.m. And if you look, we had a major node to the downside at 6,600. Like this was literally right here on this candle right here on October 9th, 2025. If anybody goes over and understands and like reads my documentation or goes over my videos, like I tell them there's a reason I created Vex and there's a reason why we focus on it, even though it seems like there's nodes that are completely out of like right field or left field, okay? Like these are speculative swing nodes, like generally speaking, like the hit rate on these ones might not be as high, but for Vex, when the plays actually hit, like you're gonna hit minimum 500 to 1000%. The UNH play for like 5,000% plus when Warren Buffett had the 13F filing, the Lular earnings play that dropped it all the way down to 160 from like 185, the LMT trade that went like 5,000% on puts, those are all VEX plays. Like, even if you don't want to take it because you're speculative, bare minimum, if you're seeing a crazy node like this that is showing a potential 135-point drop on the SPX, you do not ignore it. Like this map paired with the November column for VIX showing the 32 strike being the king node, those two are the only indicators you need to be on defense and understand that there is some volatility that is brewing in the future, okay? So this is why, and this is how you use Vex. Like even if you zoom in, like it's literally perfect. Like sure we blew past it because there was a lot of dealer shuffling that happened afterwards, but like after it hit the initial 6600 here, like even from here we took longs and we printed 100% because it did a perfect 30-point bounce from there. Literally, like, right after it hit that Vex node right here, 6,600, zero drawdown, and it bounced 30 points. This late in the day at 1 p.m. Eastern, if you're taking a zero-day expiration contracts, these are hitting at least 100 to 150%, okay? So, don't ignore the Vex. Like, just look at it. Like, I guarantee you, like, sure, the hit rate might not be as high, but like when they do hit, like, shit will smack. Like this put on Friday, like, I think like some of them hit like 10,000% plus. I've seen some hit like, 2,000%, 5,000%, but it was a pretty crazy day, and like that's the reason why I leave Vex as like a speculative map, saying like not to ignore it. And if you see something crazy, like just take like a lotto swing or something because there's a high chance that one of those trades will absolutely bank for you. All right. So somebody is telling me show SPX for Friday. I'll go ahead and do that. But like the first thing I want to show is what QQQ looked like on Friday. Like QQQ was a pretty clear map to trade off of. Let me just go ahead and pull it up real quick. You sold your 673 put for $80 profit with a $2,000. All right, congratulations, man. You got to keep some runners though, man. It's like the thing about Heatseeker, and like the reason I tell people to trade node reversals and range reversals instead is because it has the least amount of drawdown. Like if you're actually trading the strategy that I teach and you're trading like what Heatseeker enables you to do, like you should be able to hold your trades a little bit longer, and bare minimum, like you could still take profits and you should be able to leave at least a runner or two just to let things play out because you just don't know what's going to happen through the rest of the day. You got into calls and lost 4K. Like, I don't know. I mean, shit, I mean, I don't know how long you've been using Heatseeker, but like I've been telling people, like, I mean, worst case scenario, like people should have been sitting cash. Like, I just didn't really see the thesis for calls at all, right? So if you look right here, like, this is the QQQ map, right? This was on Friday. The range that it was setting up for was 613 and 610, right? It's a 3-point range. So you could draw one line here at 613, and you can draw one node here. Hold on just a second. 610. All right. So you draw these two nodes. The reason why I emphasized on QQQ on Friday was because it was the map that had the most clear range. Like, I think SPX was a little bit more scattered and it was like a little bit suspect. And I was like, okay, that doesn't look super clear. One thing that I generally do call out though is like, you have to look at SPX, you have to look at SPY, you have to look at QQQ. Like the reason you're doing that is because QQQ is at least 50% of the weighting and positioning in the SPX. But also, if QQQ is showing that it's nearing a topping pattern, it's very likely that even if SPX and SPY has nodes to the upside, it's not going to be able to go higher. Like it's going to go ahead and pull or at least restrict the market movement from going higher. So that's why you have to look at all three of them in confluence. So if you're playing Heatseeker and you're trading the strategy that I teach everybody to trade, if you're looking at Heatseeker and the range is from 610 to 613, like anywhere shorting above the 612, like if you're short, like hold on just a second. Go ahead and find the right tool. Right. So generally, like QQQ, I say like it's going to be like a 50 cent potential overshoot. So even if you took a trade like off of the 613 rejection, like this is a 5.7 to 1 risk to reward ratio. So if you could short like I mean even if you shorted like a little bit lower, like even if you caught it at like 612, 66, like still doesn't matter like it's a 3 to 1 risk to reward ratio. Like I just don't see I mean, if you could have cut it off of like if this chop happened and then if it dropped down to like 610 or something, and then the map still looked the same, like sure, I think it would be worth like a bounce play and like you could try to play like the range reversal or something like that. But it only ever like teetered across the top, it consolidated and then ultimately ended up dropping. So generally speaking, like in these kinds of setups, like the only real way you could have caught that news drop is like if you had like your eyes on the VEX, for example, that showed 6,600 on the SPX and like you took swings. Um, or if you like, you just wanted to like scalp a rejection off of 613, you took it, it chopped a little bit, but you still could have made a little bit of profits. And then you just left a runner or two. And like on the runners, you were like, yeah, as long as it doesn't go above 613, like I'll go ahead and stay in the trade. Like the cool thing about like playing reversals off of the major king nodes is that like if you're shorting it very, very close to like 613, your drawdown is going to be very, very low. Like, you might be down like 15%, you might be down 20% or 25% even, but like that's nothing for a 0 day expiration contract. If you can actually catch even if you catch like a 2 point move or a 3 point move to the downside, like you're printing like, minimum, 60% to 100% on that, right? So, it's worth it. Like the drawdown is worth it. So, a lot of times, like, the reason why I tell people to just like size for zero or like just size very, very light on 0 day expiration trades is to just allow and enable your trades to play out. Like that's the most important part. All right. And then so Dane Spy on Friday showed note at 671. Let me just go ahead and see. Like, is that 11 a.m. Eastern or Pacific? I'm assuming that's Pacific. Okay, so 11 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, so right here. Yeah, so if you look at that one, like even if you look at that map even, right? Like it dropped below 670 and then 670 becomes the king node, which means that the floor has effectively rolled down to 670. So like I marked the timestamp that you're showing. If you draw a node at 670, for example, like right here after this drop, like that's effectively saying like it's not going to be able to go back up unless it's able to clear 670. So like there's no long thesis there. Like if anything, like you would want to wait for it to like bounce back up towards 670, and then you would want to take the second short right there. Like I think the if you missed the initial drop, like I think SPX was actually a much more clear, accurate measure because even after we hit this initial drop, what ended up happening is they rolled the ceiling down to 6650. Like even if you missed this full drop right here, even if you missed all of this right here, they ended up rolling the ceiling down to 6650. So you could have even caught a rejection off of here and then rode down the second wave. Like even if you entered at 6650, like you're still catching like a 100 point drop from there. And like when we were down all the way here, the king node on SPX was showing 65, 65 at that point. Yeah, Josh, like, talking about theta for like QQQ puts, like, the most important thing for zero day expiration is like theta is gonna be painful regardless on zero day expiration, right? Like this is why I always encourage people to just take a small position. Like this is the piece of advice that is the most important that literally I feel like 80% of the people are not listening to. Like I tell people like just size smaller and let your trade play out because if you're taking like even if you're taking a $200 position on a zero day expiration, if you're hitting like a 1000% or like a 5000% trade on that, that is an incredible return. But people are greedy, like people are like gambling and like they're sizing too heavy. And what's happening is they're getting stopped out by theta chop. They're getting stopped out because they couldn't snipe a precise entry. Like nobody should be taking full size entries on zero day expiration using Heatseeker right now because you're just not that proficient using it yet. Like you're learning a completely new tool. You're learning a completely contrarian way of trading. Like you can't just jump in for the first week or two or even the month or two and be like, yeah, I'm gonna take a full size position because I got this shit down. Like it just does not happen. All right. So when people are talking to me about like zero day expiration, theta and stuff like that, like none of that matters. Like you could be down like 80% on a zero day expiration, and if the move actually plays out in your favor, like you'll still go green like 100% or 200%. Like if you're worried about theta, then you're most likely like you're just probably size too large for zero day at least. Yeah, so 9:30 a.m. SPY has the 674 node, right? Like I mean that's another indication that like, that's going to be the ceiling for the day and like if you look, I mean shit pretty much rejected it like almost right on the dot, right? So like this is kind of why I preach like playing reversals from the king nodes instead of like trying to chase nodes. Like your best risk to reward is going to be shorting against the king nodes. Like especially if it's like pumping up to the king node like that early in the day. Like just think about what else it could potentially do, right? Like what is it going to do? Is it going to chop there for like the remaining 7 hours of the day? Like no, it's probably going to pull back and it's going to do some like fuckery shit. Yeah, I mean, zero data expiration is more on like gamma for sure, but like if you're looking at the VEX map and if it's showing like a major node to the downside or to the upside, like you still need to utilize that for your overall market sentiment and how you're kind of like forecasting and foreseeing, the market to move going forward. Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about the month. I don't really care about OpEx too much. Like, I tell people just to be careful because, like, OpEx can be very volatile and you generally see, like, a lot more manipulation by dealers during that week. So, anybody else, like, I think you need to be cautious and, it's generally better to, like, let it kind of blow off. But, for the past few months I've been using Heatseeker, like, I even OpEx weeks have been fine to be completely honest. Like, they've been okay. Like, as long as you're following the rules and like you're trading node deflections and reversals from them rather than chasing them, like you're gonna be okay because the risk to reward on like these node deflection plays are really, really good. Yeah, like the only thing that I'm still kind of wary about and like why I'm kind of gonna be on the defense is because the VIX for like the VIX map looks crazy. Like a lot of people are hedged with VIX right now, and like the 32 call, like the 32 strike for November 19th is like pretty brightly lit. So it could be a pretty volatile October and November. Like I truly think and believe that like we're gonna see a lot of people blowing up in October and November, and then they're gonna miss the beautiful December. So. Hopefully it's not gonna be you guys. Like I don't want anybody to blow up. So just be like very, very careful. Like if the VIX is showing a 32 strike that brightly lit, like I'm not telling everybody to like sell your longs and just go full short. Like that's not what a spike in volatility indicates. Like it just means that you're going to see an increase in volatility. Like VIX is literally a measure of volatility, okay? So like just know there's going to be crazy and insane moves. Like it doesn't mean you should sell all your longs and like just go full port short though. I think the problem that a lot of people have is that they're so spoiled by the bull market because like the market's been going up and to the right literally nonstop that they just don't know how to play like a sideways market. They don't know how to play a down market. And like those are the things that are pretty scary. Julian, I'm looking at your comment. You're saying if we're at 6,100 and we see a huge node like the one on Friday at 6,600, why would we expect price to come down? Like, wouldn't you expect price to go up? Like if the VEX is like a speculative magnet. Yeah, I mean it's been like VIX has been in the teens, but I think it's in the 20s now, right? Like it's at 2165. Like it won't take much for this to spike to 32. I mean when the VIX moves, like it fucking moves, like, depending on what's looming in the markets. I mean it's got a gap to fill right here too. Yeah, Sebastian, like, I mean, I kind of just showed an example of it. Like, if the SPX is showing a major node to the downside on the VEX, like, you should be like, bare minimum, you should be hedged. Like, if you've got a VEX node that is 150 points away to the downside on SPX, and that's like 3 or 5 days away, like, no shot you should be full port long with no downside protection. Okay. And like the Gex is like just magical for 0 day expiration. Like it's really good for like intraday trading and it's good for like shorter term moves. But like the Vex is going to be a speculative like data point that you can utilize to kind of understand like how the market's going to potentially ebb and flow like going into the future. Dane, that assumption is not quite correct. Like I would suggest that you go through the docs one more time. It doesn't matter if the node is going to be negative or positive. Like regardless, like they're going to have a pull on price. The only difference between negative and positive is mainly how price kind of like behaves and like the characteristic of price as it's approaching that node. In which negative Gex is going to be a lot more aggressive and you have a lot of potential for it overshooting and then eventually coming back down. Whereas positive is going to be a little bit more like suppressive in nature, and it's not going to be as like volatile and aggressive as like purple nodes are. But they're still going to pull and they're still going to become ceilings. It's just that for purple ceilings, like a lot of times, like it might overshoot and then kind of settle back down afterwards. Like you could see like brief moments of like a gamma squeeze, like if it ever like breaks above a purple ceiling, and likewise for purple floors. Are there any SPX nodes lit up below that we can't currently see? I don't know. Like I can actually let me just yeah, with respect to swing trading, would you mind clarifying whether it's more advantageous to purchase at the money contracts and ride the price movement? Um, Yeah, so when it comes down to swing trading, like, the decision to purchase like at the money, in the money, or out the money contracts is ultimately dependent on your risk tolerance. And it's dependent on the size of your portfolio. Like if you've got a small portfolio, like generally speaking, you're not really able to afford like in the money or at the money contracts. The reason for this is because in the money and at the money contracts have a lot higher intrinsic value. So naturally, it's just going to be a lot more expensive to trade. The reason why out the money contracts are like very popular is because you can get them for a lot cheaper because they have extrinsic value, but their intrinsic value is like not there or it's not as high. So like I actually trade like both. Like when I'm trading like 0 day expiration and like I see a lot of risk of like, theta burn, like I'll go ahead and scalp like at the money SPX or like in the money SPX. But those contracts are like $1,000 each and like it's not affordable for a lot of other traders. So, generally like when I do, fun callouts or like, lottos and stuff like that, I'll generally alert like out the money contracts for like $100 or $200 each. Ultimately, because it's a lot easier to hold a $200 or $100 contract to zero than holding a like $1,000 contract to zero. Hopefully that makes sense. And like the way that we're trading, we trade based off of Heatseeker, and we have really, really good risk to reward like asymmetric setups. So even if you take an out the money contract, the likelihood of it eventually going near at the money or in the money by expiration is pretty high. Therefore, you get like a really nice like exponential multiple on it. So like that's where you get like a lot of 500% or like 1000% or like 2000% like trades from. But like if I were to put my like smart brain hat on and like my institutional hat on, like, if you can afford it, like people should be trading at the money or in the money contracts or like spreads. Like out the money is kind of a it's kind of like a degenerate strategy, and like if you know what you're doing, like it works really well, but it comes with its risks. It comes with its risks as well because the delta on those is not as high. So even if price is moving, you need a very, very big move in price so that the gamma Greek adds your multiplier on delta, which ultimately is the multiplier on your contract value. So gamma is known as the second derivative Greek, and it's the second derivative because it actually influences delta, and then delta is your first derivative Greek that influences your options premium and how it moves relative to a dollar move in the underlying price. iPhone 23, negative value keynote support on the upside of current price. You are not reading and understanding this correctly. Like, if a negative value keynote is on the upside, like that doesn't necessarily mean it's support. Like, it could also be resistance. So go through and read the documentation again. Like, you're asking questions that are all covered in the docs. So that question to me indicates that you need to go through in RTFM again. Yeah, Julian, I don't know what time you joined, but you probably just want to go through the video again. Like on the VEX diagram for Thursday, it's showing a potential move down to 6,600. Current price was at 6,750. That is showing a potential 150 point move to the downside in the next 5 to 6 days, 5 to 6 calendar days, which is like 3 trading days. So like, I mean, somebody knew something. Like somebody knew some shit was gonna go down. Yeah, Dex, yeah, the VIX map on November 17th, 32 strike, like that's been there for weeks. And that's why on late November, like I said, bare minimum, people should be taking hedges for December, if they're in long positions. And if they did, then on Friday, even through the dump, like they would have had downside protection. Would it be a good idea to keep a percentage of my portfolio for puts when companies have their inevitable price corrections? Like, I think this would be considered financial advice if I give you an answer to that, so I'll go ahead and abstain from it. But Heatseeker will show you the potential moves and whether companies are eventually going to have price corrections or not. So you should just look at the data and make an intelligent, guided decision from there. I'm not a financial advisor for anybody, and Skylit's not a financial advisor, so it's up to you to kind of look at the tool, analyze the data, and make your own decisions from there. I mean, largest node on whole map suggesting VIX will spike up to 32 in a month. Like again, like VIX is a measure of volatility, and it's also often used as a hedge. Like it mainly means that there's fear in the market leading into December. And even into December, like there's VIX nodes all the way up to like 100. So like that's kind of why I mentioned like, people should be hedging. Like they shouldn't be like running naked with like a shit ton of calls in their portfolio and no downside protection. Like that's really, really stupid. Like just don't do it. Like that's the dumbest shit you could potentially do. Yeah, I mean, VIX spike doesn't mean upside or downside, but it means volatility. And generally, what volatility means is that you're going to see pretty insane price swings. So, we saw a massive swing on Friday, so I guess the VIX is right. Yeah, the negative Gex is like the rainbow boost in Mario Kart. That's actually a very good analogy because after you get the booster, like you end up slowing down. And that's essentially what happens at these purple nodes. Like it breaks through and like it almost looks like a squeeze, and then it reverses back to like where the main node was, like the major king node. Yeah, so you said if you have a high positive king node with a larger negative node lower, it's safer to short close to the positive and then hold till the negative. Yeah, you don't have to hold till the negative. Like generally, like just take profits based off of like the returns on your options premium because Heatseeker doesn't know the Greeks on the contract that you have and like how much time has passed on your holdings. So like you have to determine like when you take profits. Like I think the number one misconception I have to clear up is like just because there's a node in the opposing direction, like don't think it's gonna hit. Like a lot can happen during the time that, the contract has to play out. So your take profit rules should still be very systematic. I sound like ChatGPT when you put the speak option. I don't know what that means. I mean, I'm pretty tired, so I might sound like a bot tonight. Yep. Alrighty. Any other questions? Yeah, I can. YK, so you said, can you explain more on how to identify gatekeeper nodes with an example, perhaps? Let me actually show you. Like, I will literally show you an example of how you could have scalped calls off of a gatekeeper node on SPX on Friday. Like, we traded this one. Like, I mean, I think a lot of us traded the bounce off of 6660. And let me just go ahead and brief you real quick on how you could have taken it, okay? It was at 13:03 Eastern time. Let me see. All right. Fuck. All right, so everybody go open up your trading view. All right, everybody go do me a huge favor and open up your trading view. If you look here, we've got a king node at 65.75 and 65.70, right? But as the price is at 66.05, we've actually got a pretty decent sized node here at 6600. This is around one third of the size of the king node here. That is relevant and prominent enough for price to potentially bounce off of, okay? This was at 1302, right? Now I will go ahead and share my trading view. Let's go ahead and see what happened at 1302. All right. This was 1302. 1600 Gatekeeper node. 16, like it's literally a perfect bounce. Went all the way up to 6630. For anybody that trades SPX, the 30 point move with zero drawdown, like you fucking take that shit any day. Like you take that trade any day. Like it's just it's just an incredible trade. All right. And then I bet you after this bounce happened, there were also gatekeeper nubs to the upside, probably at 6630. And then if you played the rejection, you would have rode that down all the way. So YK, did that answer your question? I just want to make sure it's clear enough so you can leverage the strategy going forward. Telloc, the API that I'm using is Skylit.ai. Yeah. Send me an email for an invoice if you want to use it. Yeah, I will make the data available through API access eventually for any enterprise customers. Yeah, there was a lifetime a long time ago, but the moment we started to go venture scale, we had to take it down. I got a lot of complaints that it's too cheap. Yeah, anybody that got on for the lifetime access, that was definitely a steal. I'm very happy for them. Snack overflow, would it be possible to indicate a gatekeeper node in a different color? I think I eventually in the later, like in the future, like I'll probably go ahead and add like an indicator or like some kind of like visual notification that shows like what node is potentially a gatekeeper node. But honestly, like it's not that difficult even within itself. Like I would just hate to prioritize something like that because it's such an easy like thing to just learn over time. Like literally, if there's a node between your current price and the king node, and it's like at least a quarter of the size of your king node, then it's going to be a gatekeeper node. What's the difference between a rejection and when price gets pinned at a high value node? Dax, this one is also covered in the docs and like the FAQs or something like that. But generally, if the price is approaching a high value node like earlier on in the day, the chances of it rejecting are a lot higher. And if the price is approaching a king node towards the end of the day, the possibility of it pinning there is going to become higher. And you know the reason. Like if there's 5 hours left in the market and like price is approaching a king node already, like what's the chances it's just gonna consolidate and chop there for 5 hours, right? Like it's either gonna roll up higher or it's gonna reject, and then there's gonna be a shuffle from there. Yeah, I mean a lot of these questions are you're asking are like if we can know this with certainty, like I would not be selling like I mean, like nobody would have access to this shit. Like you're asking for like the holy grail at that point. Like what Heatseeker will tell you is like where the walls are and like where the reversal zones are and like the values associated with each, but like you've still got to trade them strategically. Like there's no answer to every question here. But like my whole observation is that like if the keynote is tapped earlier on the day, especially in like the first hour, like the chances of it rejecting and you getting a nice, trade-off of that is very, very high. If it's like towards the end of the day and like price is approaching a king node, like I'm more likely to scalp it and like not look for a bigger move because like the market can easily chop in range for like an hour or like 5 minutes or like 30 minutes, right? This is all just like market mechanics. Like you just have to use a little bit of common sense here. Yeah, Bone Feast, you totally missed the foot licking, dude. I actually cut that part of I cut that part out from the recording, so like you won't even be able to watch it. Yeah, how many screens do I use when trading? I have a 49-inch ultra wide monitor, but to be completely honest, like I just use Heatseeker on my phone. Like we purposefully made the UI like really really fast and snappy and like easy to use because like we don't want people to have to be in front of their monitors all day. Like with the new favorites and like watch listing feature, like you could just create a watch list of like SPX, SPY, QQQ, and like you can easily flip through them really, really fast. Yeah, when I'm taking a trade, like GDOL, like if you're a Protege member, like go through the bootcamp content. In there, I explained that for day trading, like I look at the 3 minute chart. The 1 minute chart is going to be a little too crazy for you. Like for a lot of newer traders, like if you're not profitable already, like I highly suggest you use like 3 minutes or 5 minutes at the most granular level. Like you shouldn't be trading the 1 minute chart unless you're like a professional or if you're trading futures. Like for futures, like I like using the 1 minute chart, but for options, like you should be zooming out. Yeah, the Skylit merch is gonna come soon. Yeah, the Skylit merch, like we want like t-shirts and backpacks and like hats and stuff like that. It'll be pretty cool. Do we roll the cash flow of this product into a security? We roll the cash flow of this product back into the product, which is eventually going to become a security one day when we go IPO. So the answer is yes. Shit, you won't even need mouse pads because once the product is a little bit more mature, you'll just be trading on your Apple Watch or like your Apple goggles or something. No, you can't DM me for a lifetime. There's no more lifetime access. The only people that got or get lifetime access are the people that have invested a quarter mil plus into the product or the business. Yeah, exactly. Neuralink. Yeah, that'd be freaking sick. I've been trying to get a hold of him on X, but he's not responding to me. He did stop tweeting though. When we remember when we marked the bottom on Tesla at like 284 and I tagged Elon Musk and I told him to stop tweeting because I had just loaded longs. That literally marked the bottom and then he stopped tweeting finally about politics at least. Yeah, Zoom user, you can go ahead and do that. You could go ahead and hit me up and I'll let you know what the terms are for the next round. He blocked me. No, I don't think he blocked me. I think he listened to me. Yeah, the Tesla trade for that was what got my dub portfolio up like 20 or 25% in a month because like Tesla ripped from 284. Like that was the absolute low when we caught that. That was a heat seeker trade too. All right, any other questions? Yeah, the 470 rejection on Tesla last week was beautiful. That was perfect. Like the 470 rejection on Tesla, the rejection on Amazon, the rejection at 35 on DKNG. Like one of the things that I encourage everybody to look for, and like the reason why I was very, very worried about Friday was because there were a lot of tickers that actually hit or surpassed their key nodes on Thursday. Like on Thursday, if you look at so look at Lam Research LRCX on like Tuesday or Wednesday. Like it had overshot the key nodes significantly. Generally speaking, when that happens, it needs to come back down. And LRCX is like a semiconductor, and like it's pretty heavy weighting in the QQQ, or like semis in general are like pretty heavy weighting in tech. So like that was like another indication where it's like, okay, like if everything is overshooting the king nodes that early in the week, like what direction can it potentially go, right? Like it's either gonna chop for a full day or two, or it's just gonna reject and head right back down. Any predictions for Monday and Tuesday? I don't predict things. Like I literally just wake up at 6:30 in the morning or 9:30 Eastern time, and I open up the heat map and I let Gex tell me what's gonna happen on Monday. Like the best thing about Heatseeker is like I don't have to spend all night preparing and like predicting and like drawing out Elliott waves and shit like that. Because once Monday opens, like everything is gonna change anyways. Like like that's 100%. Like I've heard a lot of complaints from people that like, oh, why did this shuffle like this? Like after Trump dropped the news bomb, like why did it shuffle and show the keynote all the way down like 100 points? And like I'm like, should that even be a complaint? Because like if market, I mean, you're literally buying Skylit and Heatseeker to understand how dealers are hedging and what their net notional exposure is. Like if they're shuffling and if they're rearranging their risk exposure, like wouldn't you want to know that? Like that's the thing that like boggles my mind the most. Like that's the power behind like the 15-second refreshes that we're able to push out. Like you literally know what's happening real time. Like you know how the casino is dealing the cards in real time. Like there's no better hack to the market than that. Like if you're upset that shuffling is happening after a major news bomb like that, it's probably because you're overexposed in like a single position and like you don't want to change like your stance and your positioning. Yeah, Julian, go to docs.skylit.ai. And let me actually just pull it up. I'm gonna do a little shameless plug here real quick because like we've put in a lot of freaking work into these docs and like people just need to go ahead and read through it. Like, so if you go to docs.skylit.ai, John Wicks, he is the primary guy that's done a lot of this work, so everybody thank him for it. Warren has also been helping out a lot with this. There's just a lot of, effort that's been going into it. So, like, just go through it. Like, okay, there's a little bit of a typo here, and we'll go ahead and fix this one. But like, this is a good example of Tesla. Like, some of the best risk to reward trades come from taking direct deflection plays off gatekeeper nodes and king nodes, right? So let's look at Tesla on October 2nd. We gapped up at open. 470 was showing the king node, right? Like look right here, 470. Boom. 470 rejected. Like it went up by like 1 point more. But that was a 40-point drop with like barely any drawdown. And you remember what I said, after it rejects the king node, There's a high likelihood of a reshuffle that can happen. So as long as you're in here, like you've got a risk-free trade to the downside. You scale out after a 20-point drop, and then it still keeps on going down from there, right? All right, so everybody go through the docs if you haven't, because it's literally money. Like there's so much good shit in here that you could be looking into. Like, I mean, like fuck. I mean, I've been pretty proud of this, and like I just wish more people would go through and read it. I'm a good trader and an even better sale. I don't sell anything, man. Like a lot of people say I'm a better salesman, but like my number one like mission is just to help prevent people from losing money. Like I started trading like 10 years ago, and like when I was first learning how to trade, like I just got conned by so many people, like so many other like analysts, and like so many people that are preaching that they know what the hell they're doing. And like I just lost so much money hopping from people to people and like buying subscriptions to different tools here and there, and like it was just so much noise. So like what I've always wanted to do is just develop something and like build a platform that helps. Like I don't ever guarantee profitable traders because you got to be able to put in the work. Like everybody I talk to that is a current Skylit or Heatseeker user, I can literally talk to them, I can chat with them, and based off the questions that they're asking, I will know if they will become a profitable trader or not. If I know they're not going to become a profitable trader, I do my best to try to change their perception and their behavior for them to be able to become a profitable trader. Like that's the reason like I kind of sound like a dick and like I kind of sound like a person that's rude that just doesn't care for like, human emotion and human regards. The only reason I do that is because people need to hear what they need to hear for them to be able to have a drastic shift and change in their behavior. Like you're trading against some of the best traders in the world, and you think you could put in 30 minutes a day studying what to do. You think you can use a tool like this without even reading the docs or reading the videos that we put hours of investment into, and think you're gonna make it. Like that shit's not gonna happen. All right? So if you want to become a profitable trader, if you want financial freedom, if you want to be able to quit your 9 to 5, if you want to stop blowing money, like just do what we're saying to do. Like it's as simple as that. Like go through the videos, like put in the discipline, like stop watching TV, like stop going out drinking with your friends. Like if you want this that bad, you got to be able to put in the work that other people are not willing to put in. When I see people going out every single night of the week and they're going out for drinks and then they come home at like 2 a.m. or like 3 a.m., like I fucking know they're not gonna make it. Because there's other people that are spending I mean, it's good to see so many people in here today because you guys have all decided that you're gonna sacrifice your weekend evening to learn how to utilize this to change your future, you know? Like that's why I'm also here investing the same amount of time. All right, Noah said, when swinging, what day do you enter for targets on Friday and when is too early? Like, this is a very subjective question and it's like a choose your own adventure kind of thing. Like, generally, what I tell people is like, if I'm swinging for targets on Friday, if it's a Monday or Tuesday, I'm a lot more disciplined in terms of the entries that I'm taking, and I'm a lot more disciplined in the risk to reward that I look for. Like, I'll be looking for like 5 to 1 or like 10 to 1 risk to reward trades because if you enter on a Monday or Tuesday, the chances of theta chop or the chances of the map reshuffling before Wednesday is a little bit higher. The earliest hour you start looking at HS on a normal trading day as soon as you wake up. Yeah, John Wicks is freaking incredible. He's incredible. And like Warren right now is let me actually let me just do a quick teaser on this one too. Hold on. Yeah, we're creating a lot more cool stuff here that people should be pretty excited about. So we've got like the full docs section here, and like one other cool thing that we're working on with Warren's help is something called the Patternpedia. So going forward, like the cool thing about the heat map styling of the Heatseeker and like how we have everything done on Skylit is that when things are in colors and when things are in like patterns, like your mind and your brain and your eyes will remember those patterns, and it will remember how price played out when those kinds of patterns were displayed on the heat map. So a map like Friday, for example, like one of these days, like maybe 3 months down the road, like you'll see something similar, and at that point, you'll have a lot more confidence taking the same trade on that kind of like day. Like a lot of people are telling me like, oh, switch to a bar chart format or like use the format that options depth has. Like the reason I refuse those requests is because I've been using this style of analysis on heat maps for over 16 months now. And the only reason it works this well for me is because it helps you with photographic memory. When you're looking at number values, when you're looking at colors like this and the contrast and like how everything is kind of set up and formulated, like your photographic memory starts to kick in and you remember these kinds of patterns going into the future. So eventually what we're going to be doing is we're going to be coming up with like a patternpedia where we outline for newer traders like what these patterns look like and how you could trade them. And that's effectively like it's going to help you accelerate your learning. And it's still not the holy grail. Like it's going to help you accelerate your learning and understanding how these maps play out, but like you still have to learn through experience, taking trades on the days that these maps are displaying themselves, right? And like, it's just like you just got to put in the work and the time. Like I hope this helps accelerate the learnings though and answers a lot of questions that you might have. But quite honestly, like you've got to be able to know like this is the rug setup here as well. So this is still a work in progress. It's going to keep on evolving over time, but like, even before we get to it, like just go over these docs like a lot of times. Like over here, we've got 4,036 page views in the last 7 days, only 1,708 visitors. Like these are freaking rookie numbers. Like only 6 searches. Like come on. Like people need to be going through this shit and like ripping it up right now. No, John Wicks, you did, yeah, yeah, yeah. The typo was on Tesla. It's a quick and easy fix though. Yeah, Trill Cartel. I don't. What do you mean? I don't know. Yeah, Trill Cartel was. Yeah, Trill Cartel was asking me really good questions. Like Trader, I don't know if that's you or not, but yeah, there was a guy named Trill Cartel. He was in my DMs. Like he was showing me maps. Like he was showing me like how he was kind of analyzing them, and like he let me know what his hypothesis is. And like he asked me like if he was on the right track and if he was analyzing them correctly. And like I take the time out of my day to respond back to those questions. Like I respond extremely quick, only to people that show me that they're putting in the work. And like when I look at the work that Trill Cartel's putting in, like I know that guy's gonna make it. It might take 6 months, it might take 9 months, it might take 12 months, but I know he's gonna make it. And John Wicks, I knew this guy was gonna make it from before he even joined the team. Like, I've known him for like 2 years now, but like 100% I knew he was gonna make it. He was the guy that was in my class who would always be taking notes, and then after the session was over, he would distribute his notes to the rest of the people on the team. And I was like, yeah, that guy is gonna make it for sure. Yeah, no problem. Like the most important thing that I need everybody to know is that like, trading is not as objective as people think it is. Like there's so many other variables and factors that go into it. And anybody that watched my boot camp, like educational sessions on boot camp, like my literal first session that I teach people about is like the psychological warfare that you need to overcome and defeat if you want to become a profitable trader. Like the good thing about Heatseeker and like the good thing about that little like paper like I don't know if people follow me on X, but like I literally wrote on a piece of paper the strategies I use for technical analysis. It's incredibly simple. Like the only thing I care about are double bottoms, double tops, triple bottoms, triple tops, support resistance pivot flips, resistance to support pivot flips, Fibonacci retracements, and I think that's it. Like liquidity hunts. Like I don't use ICT, like I don't use fair value gaps, like I don't use like pennants and wedges and all that head and shoulders crap. Like I don't use RSI, I don't use moving averages, I don't use exponential moving averages. Like that's literally all bullshit that they're feeding retail traders to like literally turn them into a herd so they can freaking destroy every single one of them. Yeah, HL, I'm gonna go ahead and add more tickers this month. Like I need a better way to intake the ticker requests though, because there's a shit ton of people requesting tickers and like there's so many of them I just don't know which ones to prioritize. The way I add them is I have to add them in batches because like to do the seeding process and to develop the inference layer to kind of accumulate like the data that I'm showing on the UI, it requires a bit of processing and it requires a bit of time. So yeah, I might do another 10 this week and like another 10 next week. But I kind of have to do like a rollout basis, like a phased rollout process on it. Yeah, Josh, I think the biggest feedback that I have for you is that yes, you're going to need another few years if you keep on jumping from strategy to strategy to strategy. Like the reason trading takes so long for everybody is because they don't just believe in one strategy and like perfect it. Like they try one strategy, then it stops working, then they try another one, then it stops working, then they try another one and it stops working. Let me tell you the reality as to why this is a failing pattern, and the people that end up in this situation end up in pivot hell. Like pivot hell is like a startup terminology for startups that have to continuously like pivot their ideas. It's also the same thing in trading. Like people pivot from strategy to strategy, from tool to tool, from furu to furu. Um, and the reason they're doing that is because there's no one size fits all strategy. So you might learn a strategy and it works incredibly in like a ranging market. Then all of a sudden you're gonna have like a trending market and then your strategy is gonna stop working. That's because some strategies are meant for ranging markets and some strategies are meant for trending markets. The biggest problem with that now is that people historically had no way to understand if the market is going to be trending or if it's going to be ranging. Heatseeker is what is actually solving that. So if you know how to trade in range and if you know how to trade trending markets, you use Heatseeker to determine if the trading day is going to be a trend day or if it's going to be a range day, and you deploy whatever strategy you have to deploy. There is literally no single strategy in the market that's going to serve you in all different market conditions. So either just learn one and only trade on days that present the right opportunities for that strategy that you have, or learn two strategies and you have to know when to deploy each. Okay? The reason why people are taking years to learn how to trade is because they're not sticking and committing to one single system. They think that the strategy is the problem when actually the strategy is their own mentality and psychology. Yeah, I'll go ahead. Like this recording will generally take a few hours to process on Zoom. I'll probably have it ready by like tomorrow or Monday. I usually post them on my YouTube and then I'll go ahead and send out the link. Yeah, whipsaw. So whipsaw is not necessarily so a like chop setups are a ranging market. Whipsaw is a little bit more aggressive than chop. It's more like chop slash volatility, meaning that your range is going to be a lot larger. But you're going to see like pretty volatile movements within that range. So I wouldn't say whipsaw is synonymous to chop, but they do trade within a range. Yeah, not sure if that entirely made sense, but yeah, generally I use the word whipsaw because price can literally whip around, whereas on chop, price is just chopping around. Chop is a little bit more minuscule in terms of like volatility, and whipsaw is a lot more like heavy in terms of volatility. All right. Yep. Yeah, no problem. Fly over. Welcome to the team, and as always, like if anybody has questions. We have people on the Trader Success partner team. So like people like John Wicks, people like Nico G8, who I currently have timed out because he's drunk and he told me to time him out. Those two people are like our Trader Success partners. They've been trained on the product. They've been trained on my trading strategy. Like they're very, very good. Like, they care about you and like the users. So like, just just set up your one-on-ones with them. Yeah, I don't know where V-Blast is at, man. I tried to help that guy. I I gave him UNH calls and then he sold it for like a 13% loss and then it went up to like 5,000 to 10,000% the day after. Yeah, eggplant, I don't know where that guy went either, man. But yeah, hopefully that helps. There's going to be a lot more product updates coming into the future. Like for people that don't know, we're currently working on Flow Seeker, which is going to be like a very, very nice, like agentic version of, Unusual Whales or something like that. We're also developing a Trump Seeker, as funny as it sounds, so that you can kind of forecast and understand like what tickers are going to move based off of Heatseeker, that are going to be relevant to the tweets and the messages and press conferences that Trump is going to be having. So there's a lot of really, really cool stuff that we're going to be coming out with that's going to help everybody become a more successful and profitable trader. So just be on the lookout for it. Good things take time to push, and I'm also like very, very cautious whenever I do push a change because the last thing I want is for Heatseeker to break or lose data, like when you guys are using it. So I always prioritize like reliability and stability. Like for the people that were here like 5 months ago, like they probably remember like this shit used to go down pretty often and like the data would stall out often and like we used to all lose money because of that. As of recent, like it's been very, very stable and like I intend to keep it that way. But we did hire two new developers. I'll be looking to onboard a third developer and potentially a fourth before the end of the year. And we're going to be kicking off parallel projects to kick off additional data modules on top of the Skylit platform. Skylit today, as you know it, is just Heatseeker. It's going to be a lot more than that, and you're going to be able to like integrate and stitch together like agentic AI workflows to be able to like narrow down like your stock picks and stuff like that. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming in the pipe, and I'm pretty excited to continue pushing that value to y'all. GDOL, like I still haven't really thought of the pricing strategy for it. I think for like trivial stuff, like especially for like Flow Seeker, like it'll probably be included as part of it. Anything that requires like agentic features and technology or like AI features and technology, the prices on my side, like the expenses like shoot up significantly because I'm at the mercy of, utilizing OpenAI or Anthropic's APIs or like Google Gemini and they charge like those charges can add up pretty expensive. So I haven't really committed fully to like what a pricing model would look like, but yeah, I mean generally like any existing users are always going to have the largest benefit in terms of like what value they get out of their tiers. So it won't be like too crazy. Trader, like I don't know where you got that from. Like, I mean, I don't know what you mean by saturate, but the reason I'm creating all of the additional data modules is so that not everybody is trading the same shit. Like Heatseeker will saturate if everybody is only looking at Heatseeker and like only using it in the same exact way. That's not going to happen because we're adding additional dimensions of modules and data so that people can strategically curate their own unique strategies and approaches. Like even with Heatseeker, like the way people trade the map is all going to be different, even in its current state. But imagine adding additional like data dimensions to it where people can leverage it to, weed out or, add like a multiplier on like Heatseeker signals. Like it actually becomes a completely different ballgame. Yeah, the difference between Protege and Pro is that Protege includes like an educational bootcamp that has like all of my like trading material. It's really simple, but that should only be for people that like don't have a trading strategy to begin with. Like I assume most of the people already have a trading strategy. They've already been doing decent, and they're utilizing Heatseeker to just add on to it and make it better. Yep, no problem, no problem. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Thanks for joining.